Good morning, functions. Okay, so we are going to talk about plotting points and then finding three of the given trig functions. So we're looking for cosine, cosecant, and cotangent. So when we do that, what we're going to do is we're going to turn on my tablet. Sorry. Okay, so if we do that, here we go. We're going to plot -1, -1. So I'm going to make -1, -1. So we got to go -1, -1. And so I'm going to put it right here. There's my point. Then remember, we always draw our ray coming from the origin, so at 0, 0, through our point. So our ray is going to go through here. I'm going to go like that. So now I'm going to, well, my point's a little off. Hold on, let me erase this. So then I'm going to draw my line to the x-axis, and I'm going to have that. And I'm going to go ahead and put in my length. So I know that this is -1, and this is -1. So I need to find the length of there. So I'm going to have -1 squared plus -1 squared, and that's going to equal my r squared. So 1 plus 1, -1 times -1 is a positive 1, so we want to make sure we get that. So then I get 2, and then I've got to take the square root of that because that's what r squared equals, and so I get the square root of 2. So I have the square root of 2. So now I'm going to find cosecant. So remember, we have our x, we have our y, we have our r, but we don't actually need to know what those are. Like I said before, if you have a hard time remembering that cosine is x over r, we know SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. Right? So if I'm looking at this, I've got myself a right triangle, and we always are looking from this angle right here. So this is my angle theta. So if I want to find cosine, then that is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So I know I'm going to have my hypotenuse is the square root of 2, and then my opposite is going to be -1. But remember, we can't have a square root in the denominator, so I'm going to get -1 times this, whoops, 2 didn't really go into there, over 2. So then the cosecant is going to be the reciprocal of sine. So if sine is opposite over hypotenuse, then the cosecant is going to be the square root of 2 over -1, because that is the opposite side, and so then I end up with negative square root of 2. And then the cotangent is going to be the adjacent over the opposite, so the adjacent side is -1, and the opposite side is also -1, so then I get a positive 1. Because remember, when we do a negative divided by a negative, we get a positive. So make sure that was something you know how to do. That was a review from the last couple days, but I went ahead and did that as our warm-up. All right, so now on to new things. Okay, so we're going to draw this angle in standard position and then draw and label. So we are going to go ahead and get that 210-degree thing. So we're going to start at 0 and work our way around. So 90, 180, and right there. But I don't really know how to find that without using a reference angle. So I'm going to use the x-axis as like the way to draw my triangle this way. So I have my right angle like that. But I need to figure out what is my reference angle from here to here. Well, if this is 180, I need 30 more degrees. So 30 more degrees to get to this ray. Well, I know a triangle that has a 30-degree angle. So if I draw it right here, okay, I know that if this up here is 30 degrees, then this has to be 60 because this is 90. This is going to be a 30, 60, 90-degree triangle. So this is, my hypotenuse is 2. So let's look over here. I have a hypotenuse right here, which is 2. And then I have this line right here, which is going to be the square root of 3, and then I have 1. So when I'm looking at this triangle, I'm going to put it over here. So I know that my hypotenuse is 2. And the reason why I know my hypotenuse is 2 because I know that I have this triangle. Because this is a 30-degree angle, which makes this 60. So if that makes this one 60, what the side that is opposite of the 30-degree angle is 1. But here's something we need to think about. We're in the third quadrant of the coordinate plane. If I'm going down exactly 1, I'm actually going down -1. So it's not going to be the side length of 1, it's going to be the side length of -1. So then the only thing I'm left with is the square root of 3. But again, I'm going to the left, so it's a negative square root of 3. So if I'm finding the sine of 210 degrees, I'm going to use this as my reference angle. Then that means that my sine, which is the opposite, so sine of 210 degrees is going to be my opposite, which is -1, over my hypotenuse, which is 2, so -1/2. So go ahead and get that in your notes, and then that should we'll do another one. Okay, so now let's do another one. So go ahead and hit pause. I would like you to try this one on your own, and we are going to try to figure this out. So if we are doing a negative angle, we still start where everything is positive, x and y. So we're going to start here, but remember, it's a negative angle, so we're going to go down. So I'm going to start here, and I've got, so -90, -180, and then -240 is going to be about right here. So I'm going to do this, draw my ray, and I know that it's negative because this would be -270, right? So from the 180-degree angle to here, the -180-degree angle, what would that be? So I needed to go, so -180, 190, 100, so it should be 60 degrees, right? -60 degrees to go back negative this way, but they're always positive. So it's a 60-degree angle. And then guess what? We have the same triangle. We have a 60. My 30-degree will be right here, and my right angle is right there. So I'm going to go ahead and draw since I have my reference angle of 60 degrees, I'm going to go ahead and draw in my triangle because I want to use this as a reference to help me make my picture on my. So again, my hypotenuse is always 2. I'm going to say that this is 60 down here. So then this is the square root of 3, and this is 1. Okay, so now I got to find the different pieces. I got to put it on this triangle. My hypotenuse is the easiest one to find, so I'm going to make that 2. All right, the angle next to the 60 degrees, or the side that's adjacent to the 60 degrees is always 1, but again, I'm going to the left, so it's going to be -1. And then the one that's going right here, that's opposite of the 60 degrees, so opposite of the 60 degrees is the square root of 3. But because I'm going up in the square root of 3, that exact amount, it's a positive. My y values are positive, so it's going to be right there. So if I were making a point, I would use -1 square root 3. So then I have my x is equal to -1. My y is equal to the square root of 3, and my r is 2. Without even doing any real math, just knowing my triangle helped me do this. So I'm looking for the cosine of that. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So the adjacent side is right here, which is -1. So I have here we'll write cosine of -240 degrees is equal to -1 over my hypotenuse, which is 2. So -1 over 2. So it's the exact same answer as the one before, but we're looking at a different triangle, which is a little bit crazy. All right, let's go into the next one. So we're going to evaluate tangent of 405 degrees and then draw that reference angle. So I'm going to start right here. I'm going to go around 90, 180, 270, 360, and then 360 plus 90 is, let's see, I should know this off the top of my head, but I don't. 450, so I don't want to go quite that far. So If I have 360, I want to go up 45 degrees, right? So 40 to 400 plus 5. So 45 degrees, that's about halfway. So we're going to go right here. And by doing that math, I kind of already figured out my reference angle, right? So from 0 to here, so we're looking at this angle right here. This is going to be a 45 degree angle because from 360 to 405 is 45 degrees. So I kind of already figured it out just by drawing it. So then I'm going to draw my triangle. And I have a 45, 45, 90 degree. So we know this triangle. I'm going to draw it in. I know that this is 1, this is 1, and this is the square root of 2 because this is 45, which means that's 45. So I am positive this way, so I'm going to go over 1. I am positive this way, so this is 1, and my hypotenuse is 2. Square root of 2, excuse me, I cannot believe I said that. The square root of 2. So we are going to find the tangent. The tangent is the opposite over the adjacent. Well, the opposite side is 1, so tangent of 405 degrees is 1 over the opposite over adjacent, which is 1, which is a positive 1. So now we have a positive 1, and we found the exact value. Now let's try this one. We're going to evaluate tangent at 0 degrees. So 0 degrees will be right here, which is our starting point because this is at 0. So I'm just going to put a point right there. And I'm going to go ahead and label this 1. And so, I'm sorry, the point is 1. So my point for here is x is 1, y is 0. So I have my x equals 1, my y equals 0. Now I have to find my r equals. So 1 squared plus 0 squared equals r squared. So we have 1 plus 0 equals r squared. 1 equals r squared. Oops, the r there. Take the square root of both, and I get r is 1. So to find the tangent, well, tangent, remember, is opposite, or is it x over y? So this one's a little bit harder, and you are actually going to have to need to know your x, y. And so if I go back and we look at that table that I gave you, let me find it. I think it was at the very beginning. Here, nope, not that one. We do a lot of math in this class. Look at this. Here it is. We're almost there. So tangent is y over x. So this is where, when you have a triangle that we don't have references for, this is where it's going to help us. So we need to put, we're finding the tangent, so that's going to be y over x. Let's go back to the slide that we were on. So y over x, so the tangent of 0 degrees is going to be y, which is 0, over x, which is 1, which is equal to 0. So the tangent of 0 is 0. All right, so if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, you have a great day, and the test will be on Friday for most of my classes, and Tuesday after the long weekend for my 8th period. Have a great day. See you all later.